Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going along with the idea that Trump has of cutting Medicaid. And during the congressional hearing yesterday, when this issue came up, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. casually mentions, there are rehabs that aren't that expensive. Like, for example, some really good rehabs cost $20,000 to $40,000 per month. What? So during the hearing yesterday, Secretary of Health and Human Services RFK Jr. was defending the brutal Medicaid cuts, and he talked about his own experience recovering from heroin addiction. And when he was pressed by members about how much the treatment RFK got in the past would cost today, Kennedy's response was, "You don't have to spend as much. You could get a rehab for 40 grand a month." What? What?
Understanding is that the private rehab facility, like the one that you went to, would cost in today's dollar for that same treatment over $286,000 out of pocket, just for addiction treatment that I think we can all agree, Republican and Democrat, is absolutely necessary to make sure that we're keeping our communities safe. I bring this up because
there are, Congressman, there are many really gold star rehabs that do it for a tiny fraction, like $20,000 to $40,000 a month.
There you go. I bring this up because in my community, the average salary is $40,000.
Can you imagine? Average income, $40,000. But RFK says, oh, don't worry about the Medicaid cuts. You can get a perfectly good rehab for 20 to 40 grand a month. To most Americans, really most, $20,000 or $40,000 a month is life-altering debt from which they may never recover. Now, I don't know exactly Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s financial situation. Obviously, the Kennedy family is wealthy. I don't know how much personal wealth he has. Estimates are $20 to $30 million. Certainly, he was born into a very powerful political dynasty. But it seems as though, to some degree, not surprisingly, being born into such a situation affects your brain in its own way. And it affects your ability to understand reality, where you go, no, listen, there's affordable rehab centers like 40 grand a month. Well, if you make 40 grand a year gross and taxes have to come out of that, and income taxes and sales taxes and vehicle registration fees and all of that, and then you need housing, and then you need food, and that just gets you housing and food and nothing else. What are we talking about? $20,000 to $40,000 a month rehabs? And so, listen, I don't know the full scope of the way in which being this privileged affects your brain. It certainly seems to affect ego, seems to isolate you from people you're supposed to be serving. Maybe you lose the ability to be sympathetic or empathetic, and you start looking at Medicaid cuts and saying, we're getting rid of fraud by cutting Medicaid, even though it will lead to the stripping of healthcare for millions of low-income families. And then meanwhile, you go, there's plenty of affordable rehabs. Just spend 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month, 40 grand a month. And when he gets challenged, he goes, these are affordable. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know that RFK Jr. can even fathom why that's a problem. Like, I guess for him, 40 grand a month is a rounding error that doesn't really affect your budget. Yeah, okay, you might be in rehab for a little while at 40 grand a month and then you come out, not really a big factor in your budget. To most Americans, that would be, forget about a catastrophic emergency. Most Americans wouldn't even be able to get a loan for that amount of money. It would be, do not pass go, do not collect $200, go straight to medical bankruptcy, years of debt, and it would be the difference between surviving or not. So I guess I'm gathering, if you were born into money and prestige to this degree, it's all theoretical. You talk about the poverty and mental health and the cost of this and Medicaid cuts and fraud, and it's all theoretical. It doesn't link up with anything because in the back of your mind, you're going, doesn't matter what we cut. They can all go to a 20 grand a month rehab and everybody's going to be fine. Well, most people don't even make that much. At the top line, 20 grand a month is 240 a year. But I don't know what percentile that would put you in. It's got to be 96 or something like that, meaning 96% of the country makes less than that. But we're just going to go to rehab for 20 to 30, 40 grand a month. How do we expect a different outcome when these are the people that we put in the positions of power? Now, on the bonus show today, we are going to talk about a proposal from California Governor Gavin Newsom that some on the left are not pleased with. We will also talk about local lawmakers bracing for the possible pardon of Derek Chauvin. And we will discuss the Trump impeachment effort that has been pulled moments before a House vote. All of those stories and more on today's bonus show. Sign up at joinpacman.com. Don't miss it. And I'll be back with a new show tomorrow as well. After researching, writing, refining, The Echo Machine, my book, is finally out. This is not just a book about how American politics got so broken. It's also about what's happening right now and what we can still do to stop things from getting worse. Trump's been back in power. The results have been even more catastrophic than many feared, with targeting of political opponents and gutting democratic institutions, laying the groundwork to even further consolidate power. But the thing is that none of this is inevitable. The same forces that brought us here can be countered if we understand how they work and what to do about them. And that's what the Echo Machine is all about. Some say that without corporate media backing, books like this can't succeed. I think we can prove them wrong. You can get the Echo Machine right now at davidpakman.com/echo on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, or by calling any local bookstore and asking them to order it. This book is more important than ever. If you care about what happens next, and I do, check out the Echo Machine today at davidpakman.com/echo.